Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your #1 source for exclusive palace investigations and breaking royal news. I'm your host, and today we're bringing you a story that goes straight to the heart of the British monarchy. Buckingham Palace has launched a secret investigation, and what they're investigating will shock you. Make sure you subscribe right now, because this is history unfolding before our eyes. Hit that subscribe button. Something unsettling has begun behind the palace gates. Not a headline, not gossip, not whispers from tabloids, something far quieter and far more serious. According to insiders, Buckingham Palace has launched what they are calling an internal verification review. And the subject of this review is Archie and Lilibet. For the monarchy, this is almost unthinkable. Because if there is one thing the crown fears more than scandal, more than criticism, more than public opinion, it is uncertainty. Especially uncertainty around family lineage. Royal titles can be taken away. Public duties can be removed. But if there is even a question, even a shadow of doubt about someone's place in the bloodline, the entire foundation of the monarchy trembles. The line of succession must be clear, solid, and beyond challenge. So, if the palace has taken this step, this cold, quiet, internal investigation, then something has gone very wrong. Insiders describe the mood inside Buckingham Palace as frozen, the kind of tension that appears only when the crown senses a threat, not from outside, but from within. And what started as whispers about inconsistencies has now become a full-scale review conducted in silence, buried beneath centuries-old protocol and guarded with the seriousness of a constitutional crisis. The question is, what exactly pushed the palace to take this step? Before we dive deeper into this palace investigation, I need you to stop right now and hit that subscribe button for Royal Daily Report. We are the only channel bringing you this level of insider access and exclusive palace revelations. Turn on all notifications because we're breaking new developments every single day. This is the biggest royal investigation in modern history, and you need to be with us for every moment. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. It wasn't one dramatic event. It wasn't a single scandal. It wasn't even the loud rumors that have circled Meghan and Harry for years. No, what triggered the palace was a pattern. A pattern made of small, quiet inconsistencies. Details that at first glance seemed harmless. A missing line in paperwork. A timeline that didn't match previous statements. A document altered with no clear explanation. A ceremony announced without verification. Procedures that didn't follow the royal standards that have been honored for generations. One small oddity can be ignored. Two can be excused. But when insiders placed these details side by side, they didn't look harmless anymore. They formed a picture that felt off. And every time someone tried to explain one inconsistency, another one surfaced. According to palace sources, senior advisors eventually reached a point where they could no longer look away. Because these inconsistencies weren't random, they formed a pattern around the births of Archie and Lilibet. The very moments that determine whether a child is part of the royal line. And in the monarchy, when the pattern touches the bloodline, the palace does not debate. It does not speculate, and it does not delay. It investigates. That is how the internal review began. Quietly, cautiously, and with the understanding that what they might find could change everything. The first stop in the palace's review was simple. Look at the earliest official document connected to the Sussex children, Archie's birth certificate. For most families, a birth certificate is just paperwork. But for the royal family, it is a legal cornerstone. It establishes identity, legitimacy, and place within the line of succession. Everything on it must be clear, consistent, and permanent. But Archie's certificate didn't stay that way. Months after his birth, a quiet edit was made. Meghan's full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, was removed. In its place appeared only the title Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. No first name, no surname, just the styling approved by the crown. This was almost unheard of because to change a birth certificate, someone must file the request, someone must approve it, someone must justify it, and there must always be a traceable reason. But when investigators looked back, nothing added up. Meghan claimed the palace requested the change. Palace insiders claimed Meghan's team pushed for it. The stories didn't match. And more importantly, no clear paper trail existed explaining why the edit was necessary at all. For the monarchy, that is a problem, because if the foundational document of a potential royal child was altered once, the question becomes, why was it changed and what else might not align? This was only the beginning, and the deeper the palace dug, the stranger the story became. Are you seeing how serious this investigation is? Buckingham Palace doesn't launch internal reviews for no reason. If you want to understand what's really happening behind those palace walls, you need to subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. We're not just reporting news, we're investigating, analyzing, and connecting the dots. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join thousands of viewers who trust Royal Daily Report for the unfiltered truth. Subscribe now. Once palace staff examined the altered birth certificate, they moved backwards straight into the events surrounding Archie's birth. And that is when the second wave of irregularities appeared. Normally, royal births follow a routine so predictable, it might as well be written in stone. 1. The palace announces the mother is in labor. 2. Royal-approved doctors verify the birth. 3. A formal bulletin is placed outside Buckingham Palace. 4. The public sees the baby in a controlled ceremonial appearance. But for Archie, none of this happened the way it should. According to insiders, Meghan and Harry did not announce labor at all. Hours passed with silence. Then, just when the public was expecting news, a statement was released saying Meghan had just gone into labor, even though Archie had already been born 8 hours earlier. That meant the public was being told the beginning of the story after the ending had already happened. And for a royal birth, that simply doesn't happen. Even more confusing, the announcement came before any verified medical confirmation. The order was reversed. Everything felt backward, vague, and strangely controlled. By the time Meghan and Harry appeared for their first photo opportunity, the moment felt less like a traditional royal welcome and more like a carefully staged presentation, one that offered no real clarity. Inside the palace, staff struggled to match the family's public statements with the timeline they were accustomed to documenting. It was the first real sign that this story did not line up with a century of royal protocol, and the palace still had deeper to go. After the timeline came the paperwork. In royal births, paperwork is everything. Traditionally, multiple medical professionals are present. Their names are listed on the records. Witnesses sign key documents. Everything is stamped, filed, and logged immediately. But when palace investigators reviewed Archie's file, they didn't find a scandal. They found gaps. There were missing signatures where witnesses should have been. There were no listed doctors matching typical royal deliveries. Internal staff said the hospital information didn't line up with procedures they knew well, and the documentation lacked the precision the royal system is built upon. Sources behind palace walls whispered that the process did not meet the standard the monarchy requires for a child connected to the line of succession. Not enough to accuse anyone of wrongdoing, but enough to raise a flag. The palace does not operate on feelings. It operates on records, confirmation, and proof. And to many pieces of Archie's birth simply did not meet those standards. These weren't dramatic issues. They were structural ones. And structure is exactly what the monarchy relies on to protect its bloodline. But if Archie's paperwork raised questions, Lilibet's paperwork, or rather the absence of it, would take those questions to an entirely new level. This investigation keeps getting deeper and more concerning. And Royal Daily Report is the only channel giving you this comprehensive coverage. Every detail matters, every inconsistency adds up, and we're here to show you the full picture. If you value thorough, fearless journalism, subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. Turn on all notifications so you never miss an update. We're uncovering the truth piece by piece, and you need to be with us every step of the way. Subscribe now. If Archie's birth felt unusual, Lilibet's birth was something the palace had never encountered before. Her arrival was announced, not through Buckingham Palace, not through royal doctors, not through an official bulletin, but through Meghan and Harry's team in California. A polished press release, a handful of carefully chosen photos, and nothing else. No British medical staff were present. No royal midwives, no palace witness statements, no official registry entry through the UK system, not even an acknowledgement from the royal household. For a royal-adjacent child, this was unprecedented. Sources say that when investigators tried to reconstruct Lilibet's birth timeline, the gaps were even larger. Everything happened outside the monarchy's jurisdiction. No official documents were logged on British soil. Nothing was verified by the Crown's established medical procedures, and even the visual record created questions. Photographs of Meghan during this pregnancy did not show a consistent progression. Some images appeared ahead of schedule, others behind. Certain angles intensified speculation, but the palace was not focused on opinions. They were focused on protocol, and protocol was missing. Then came the detail that insiders described as deeply concerning. The doctor who supposedly delivered Lilibet reportedly closed her medical practice just 2 weeks after the supposed birth. No explanation was publicly given. No royal documentation tied her to the event. It was the kind of irregularity that, when added to the growing file, made the entire situation impossible to ignore. Lilibet's birth was not just unusual, it was completely outside the royal system, leaving the monarchy with no official confirmation, no verified paperwork, and no link to its own historical processes. And this was where the palace's quiet concern turned into something colder. Because if a child's birth cannot be verified by the standards of the crown, then everything that follows, titles, status, lineage, becomes uncertain. If the questions around the births caused discomfort inside Buckingham Palace, what came next caused alarm. Because the moment that should have tied Lilibet to the monarchy forever, her christening, uncovered the biggest irregularity yet. Royal christenings are not simply sweet family moments. They are constitutional events. They link a royal child to the Church of England, an institution legally and historically intertwined with the crown. Every christening must be logged, witnessed, certified, and signed. Even private ceremonies leave a clear trail. But when senior advisors quietly checked the Church of England's registry, they didn't find a private entry. They didn't find a confidential note. They didn't find a bishop's signature. They found nothing. No record of Lilibet ever being christened under the authority of the Church of England. No documentation, no acknowledgement, no confirmation from the Archbishop's office. For any child, that would be strange. For a child with potential ties to the royal line, it is a direct constitutional problem. The evidence just keeps piling up, and Royal Daily Report is documenting every single piece of it. We're not afraid to ask the hard questions that mainstream media won't touch. If you appreciate journalism that holds powerful people accountable, you need to subscribe right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and make sure you're part of our community demanding answers. Royal Daily Report, where the truth matters more than royal PR. Subscribe now. And then came the second shock. Photographs of the children across different public appearances didn't seem consistent. Even insiders quietly wondered why the child shown on one holiday card did not resemble the child seen months later in the couple's documentary footage. The palace didn't comment publicly, but inside the review, these inconsistencies were simply added to the file. By now, the question wasn't whether something was unusual. The question was how deep the inconsistencies went. Once the christening issue surfaced, Buckingham Palace shifted from quiet concern to structured investigation. A full internal team assembled: senior advisors, archivists, constitutional lawyers, and clerical liaisons. Their mission was not to accuse anyone. It was to reconstruct everything. Every birth announcement, every statement, every appearance, every medical claim, and every document tied to Archie and Lilibet. Sources say the team built a physical timeline wall. Birth dates, announcements, hospital reports, christening claims, public photos, media statements, internal protocols. Everything was compared to the standards the monarchy has followed for generations. And the deeper they went, the more the gaps grew. They found missing witness signatures, delayed paperwork, contradictory accounts from Meghan and Harry, medical details that didn't match procedural norms, a foreign birth never verified by royal channels, a christening that left no ecclesiastical footprint, and documentation inconsistent with the precision the crown requires. Individually, none of these issues were explosive, but together they formed a constitutional puzzle the palace could not ignore. At this stage, insiders say the review became less about controversy and more about protecting the monarchy's future. With the file assembled, Buckingham Palace now faces 3 possible paths, each one carrying consequences Meghan and Harry never imagined. Outcome 1: titles frozen. The palace could quietly freeze the children's titles where they currently stand. No expansion, no ceremony, no further recognition, a slow, quiet distancing. Outcome 2: reclassification as private individuals. Without ever making a public announcement, the palace could gradually move Archie and Lilibet out of the royal structure. Their names would slide down official listings. They would be treated as private citizens, not royal descendants. Outcome 3: formal removal. The most drastic option, and the one now legally possible because of the internal review, if the Crown concludes that documentation does not verify lineage or established protocol, it can remove titles and recognition entirely, cleanly, quietly, without emotion. Simply the monarchy protecting its bloodline. According to palace insiders, this is the option Meghan and Harry fear most because reputation can be rebuilt. Public opinion can change, but a royal title once removed does not return. We're approaching the conclusion of this explosive investigation report. And if you're not subscribed to Royal Daily Report yet, you're making a huge mistake. This is the kind of in-depth, evidence-based journalism you won't find anywhere else. Subscribe right now, turn on all notifications, and make sure you never miss a breaking development. Share this video with everyone who needs to know what's really happening in the royal family. Royal Daily Report, your source for truth and accountability. Subscribe now. As the review continues, the atmosphere inside the palace has grown still. This isn't about headlines. It isn't about drama. It isn't even about anger. It is about the monarchy returning to its oldest rule. The line of succession must be unquestionable, and that is where the true weight of this investigation lies. For Meghan, this cuts through her entire public identity, her projects, her branding, her documentary narratives, all built on being a modern duchess and the mother of royal children. But if the Crown determines that her children's connection cannot be verified, that royal mystique, for Harry, the impact is deeper. Sources suggest he has reached out to senior royals, frustrated and emotional, trying to understand what the palace intends to do. But once the Crown enters legal territory, emotion no longer matters. The review will continue with or without their cooperation. And for the monarchy, the decision must be made without hesitation. Because the Crown has one priority: protect the institution, even if it means erasing those who threaten its certainty. So now, behind closed doors, the palace prepares for its next move. No announcements, no leaks. Just the quiet turning of a centuries-old machine making a decision that could reshape not only Meghan and Harry's future, but the place of their children in royal history. The world may still be watching the drama, but the Crown is watching something much larger: its legacy. And when the monarchy begins questioning its own bloodline, it is not searching for gossip. It is preparing for a reckoning. That brings us to the end of today's Royal Daily Report coverage of Buckingham Palace's secret internal investigation into Archie and Lilibet. What we've uncovered today is truly unprecedented. The palace has assembled a full investigative team examining every document, every timeline, every inconsistency surrounding the Sussex children. From the altered birth certificate to the missing medical documentation, from the backwards timeline of Archie's birth announcement to Lilibet's birth happening entirely outside royal oversight, from the non-existent christening records to the inconsistent photographs, every piece adds up to a constitutional crisis that the monarchy can no longer ignore. The palace now faces three possible outcomes: freezing the titles, reclassifying the children as private individuals, or formal removal from the royal line entirely. And according to our sources, that final option is now on the table. This isn't about gossip or drama. This is about the monarchy, protecting the integrity of the royal bloodline and line of succession. Make sure you're subscribed to Royal Daily Report because this investigation is ongoing, and we will bring you every development as it happens. Hit that subscribe button right now, turn on all notifications, and stay with us as we continue to expose the truth. Share this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and join our community of viewers who demand accountability from those in power. Thank you for watching Royal Daily Report. I'm your host, and remember, when the palace starts questioning the bloodline, it's not looking for scandal, it's preparing for action. We'll see you in the next video. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and never accept the official narrative without questioning it.